Traci.
Wulwyn. So am I gonna discover? Are you gonna tell me why you're like, oh, before we got on because I said something, it's triggered something, and something's about to happen.
No, why not? Why not? Let's just how are you? How are you? I want to ease into this because if you know what? Shoot, I'm confused.
Why ease, man? We got
I know.
some powerhouse stuff.
So Traci, just before we got on, and we always pray, and I was about to pray, and I said, you know what, Traci, you pray. So tell me what went down in prayer. What describe what happened. Tell a story, give a narrative, and then I'm going to come in with what's happening on my end.
So in a nutshell for y'all, I'm like, well, and Wulwyn can attest to this, because when I pray, it's kind of like, thank you, God, be with me, amen.
That's it.
But what was coming through is what I don't know, right? Like, so it's like, be with me, be with us and support in what we are attempting to create, all that. And then also in the places we don't even know we need support, right? I mean, I know you will be. I'm just kind of bringing that up to consciousness. Right. It's like, I am willing to say, I don't know what I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I felt it because I feel like we're in this time of that. Like, I mean, what 2020 has been all about. What's next? I don't know, but I just feel September is, I don't know why. It's really this time of what I've been calling it lately is being courageously and actively accepting. Mm. There's a difference between resignation and active acceptance. And I think, we're all real tired. The time we're in, we're tired. We're tired of a lot. And yet it keeps going. So it's like the steamroller's going, and it's going for a reason. And I think a lot of us recognize that, maybe not consciously, but we feel it. Mm-hmm. If we don't recognize it consciously. And that piece of active acceptance, how can I be with the energies of the moment and the change and the what's being asked of me and what's being taken away and where I need to pivot and where I need to grow and all these, can I be actively acceptant of that? But again, I say the word action, inaction, right? Mm-hmm. How can I be on board fully? How can I say, okay, my daily routine is in alignment, like what I do, what I say, what I think. Mm-hmm. How do I gear that towards where this whole thing is going? So I think we've been in wait, and I'm talking collectively, I mean, we can talk individually, but we've been in wait and see, and then we're like, well, we can't keep waiting forever. And so we start kind of trying to do this and trying to do that, but it's tentative, right? We don't know if I do that, it's going to blow up in my face and I'm going to be knocked 10 steps back or what. Or if it's just, I mean, we were talking about going to school last time you and I spoke, and now those kids, at least at UNC and NC State that went to school, are like now back home. Yep. So it's like we take those steps, and sometimes we're like, retreat, but it's how can I focus more on being actively engaged in the change and less reactive to, oh, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. The way I frame it, I was just talking to a client earlier today, we've been conditioned to believe it's about the outside. It's about the inside. It has nothing to do with the storyline, with the relationship. We think, oh, well, when COVID's over, then I'll do this. That's all external. We're waiting for the relationship or COVID to be over, or the money in the bank, or it's not about external, right? So it's time for us to really go internally and steer the ship that's on the course of wherever we're all going together. Steer this ship with the course, right? Like make it about, where do I need to be in this course? Like if I'm on a river raft, like where do I need to be in these rapids? As opposed to, well, I hope I get through the rapids and I don't die. We got to be active in it, right? I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but it's the way I've been feeling.
So she gets on, she comes, she says, oh, I don't know. So I say, let's pray. She goes, God gave me direction. You know, it's all about direction. Her entire prayer, the entire verbalization was direction. Now, check this out. This morning, I am meditating, and I'm, I'm like, God, what's going on? Because your interaction with anybody has to be a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. I'm not just asking transactionally, Traci, give me money. Traci, give me water. Traci, no, I have to pause for Traci to speak. Even as we're speaking now, you speak for a while, I speak when we go back and forth. So in the conversation with God, I'm going, so what's up, man? What, I'm going to read this. He says, Father, you told me to do that. So that's another story. Remove pride, that's another story. We're not talking about that now. But then I lean on the Holy Spirit for my direction. Then it goes, Wulwyn, I am directing everything about you, every single thing about you. I am directing everything about you. And I go, okay. And I'm sitting down and I'm just meditating on it. And then path of righteousness just come up. And path of righteousness meaning, I said, well, path of righteousness, what is that? What is path of righteousness? And then I research a bit and I go, Proverbs 3:6 talks about, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path and make the crooked path straight. Psalm 23:3 says, he guides me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Now, every single step we are taking, every single stop, road bump, U-turn, S-curve, hairpin, every single, I kind of know those things, huh?
Keep going.
Every single turn, every bump, every pause has been orchestrated. And if we can, and you said, when you get in that boat, just go with the flow, right? Steer. You're not staring against. Don't turn the boat around and go against the flow. You will suffer. Turn it and kind of control it, right? But you know that in your control, you go into that place you're supposed to go to. And if you find yourself in the rapids and there's a turmoil, there's water, you're gathering water. It's not, gosh, I shouldn't have made that turn over there. It's, I'm going to get water out of this thing right now to ensure I don't sink. And after I do that, I am going to continue paddling and going. And if another wave hits me and I'm going to bump and then I'll come back and then I'll continue going. What does that mean? Direction, COVID-19, elections, Black Lives Matter, all these different things, and all life matter, everybody coming in and mixing and saying, this is the way it should go. And President Trump been there now in this particular season. It's all supposed to be going in this direction. And the more you start to focus on those external things, as you were saying, where you oh my goodness, oh Lord help me. You focus on those external things that not waste your time. They're important. I don't want to say it's not important.
They're distractions.
Thank you. When you focus on those distractions, it removes you from your direction, from your steps being ordered. Because why am I spending hours on TV? And I love TV, don't get me wrong. I binge watched Hannah the other day from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. It's on Prime, yes. And I didn't, but here's the deal. Why spend time getting pissed off with the political, with politics, or spending time on Facebook looking, no, you should look at us, don't change, looking at what's
we're not a distraction.
We're not distracted.
Exception to the rule.
Thank you, looking at other people's Facebook lives and saying, and wasting your time on that, whereas you can focus on your direction. And when you focus on that direction, the kind of change that you can make to everybody, not only yourself, but everybody that's coming along for the ride, and everybody that will interact with what you will produce. Because trust me, when you're in that place, in that flow, when you're on that path of righteousness, when you're on that path you're supposed to be on, you're not a consumer. You're a multiplier. You are a producer. You're on that path. You're writing that book. You're writing your blogs, etc. You are a producer when you're not looking at the distractions.
I love that. And you know what? Something I was thinking when you were talking, it's action versus reaction. So when I was saying active acceptance, right? In the moment, what is going on now? And how can I take action as opposed to reacting to other people's posts or other people's actions or other people's reactions? You know, it is and it's so funny because just last week I posted something on LinkedIn about action versus reaction. And so all these patterns are coming up to be looked at, right? That's the point. You know, we're starting to read each other's juju, right? Like, I really think we're moving into that place too, where, you know, like we're reading each other on a different level. And I find it's happening in this household all the time. Like we're competing each other. My husband and I, like, I'll say something, he goes, I was just about to say that exact same thing in the same words, the same way. Or I'll walk in the room, I'll say something to my daughter. She's like, oh my God, Dad just told me the exact same thing, the same words.
Wow.
So I really think that that's the thing is we are moving to another level, but guess what up-leveling means? It means there are things we've been doing that might have worked in the way things were, but we're moving to a different space. And so what does that mean? And all I know is I'm in this place of, you know, what's next as far as the up level piece.
Correct.
My girlfriend and I were talking, so we do these long walks on the weekend, and we were doing one of our 8-milers, and we figure the whole world out basically. By the time we're done, we're like, okay, we're done. Yeah, like
those things happen. Yep.
Yeah, like all right, manifest that. But we were talking about this, and she and I are similar age. You know, I turned 52 this summer, and I'm like, she's writing that she just decided that her book is going to be around the concept of menopause, but not the way it's traditionally been looked at. But that this is the time to fly. Like we've been in boot camp for the first 50. The next 50 is the time to apply the boot camp concepts, right? So we're gonna be better than we were before, right? So she and I are getting all pumped about all the stuff going on, the books we're writing, the projects, the programs, the people we're engaging with, the tribes we're building, where that's going, right? Essentially, and that's what we're talking about. Am I hearing myself?
Yeah, you were, because I was doing the comments and stuff. Go ahead.
No, I thought maybe it was me too, because I got this thing open also. I'm like, oh God, me and technology, geez. But I mean, it's about getting pumped. But the way we get pumped is when we're engaged.
Yes.
Like when we're sitting back waiting and wondering and worrying. That's the thing too that's been coming through, is we're so supported in ways we have no clue. If this is, I mean, is true that God's directing this, then why are we scared? Why do we have fear? Why do we get distracted in fear and trepidation?
Yes.
If we're safe.
Yes.
And I'm not saying every move doesn't have some challenge. I mean, I was just thinking too, when we were talking about going down the rapids, the first time I did whitewater rafting was in Switzerland.
Okay.
When I was living there. And at one point I got caught under the raft. And then the raft got stuck on some rocks. And so this thing's on top of me and I couldn't figure out how to get out. and I'm like taking in water, and it was not good. And I remember there's this vivid point where it was like literally do or die. Like, I'm going to figure this out or I'm going to die.
Wow.
And I ended up kind of like shimming myself under the bottom part of the raft, because I couldn't, the water was swirling around me, so I couldn't tell kind of which end was up.
Correct.
So I had to follow the raft. And I ended up getting my arm up enough where one of the guides was able to kind of pull me up over the side.
Wow.
And, you know, so it's that piece of like, if we're not mindful in the moment, if we're freaking out, if I was freaking out, there was a moment where I got, right? And I'm like, follow the raft. If I had just kept like, oh my God, I can't breathe, I don't think I would have made it. And that's a great analogy for where we are all right now.
So again, direction. You're following the raft, following the line on the raft. Don't panic. The business is not making any money. The marriage is in the rocks. As your feet were right in the rocks, your concepts aren't coming to fruition. Don't panic. Don't panic. Breathe, right? Breathe. You talked about the guide coming and getting you, right? Had you not been calm and followed, assistance may not have come. Assistance was there, but you had to go to a particular point under there to show. And what hit me when you said that was, we're all walking on this path of life. We're all doing the various things that we're called to do, our purpose. And, you know, I'm led to say this. A lot of people are, you know, purpose driven was so huge in the past few years, past 10 years. What's your purpose? What's your why? What's your what? Keep living, you'll find it. You keep searching for it, you'll find it. As you're doing your purpose, your helpers, your destiny helpers are standing next at various points on this walk. But you see, your destiny helpers cannot take you from A to B. You have to go from A to B, and it's at B that they are there to help you go to B.5 or C. So if you're sitting down and destiny hasn't taken you, there's something that you have to keep on doing. Have to actively wait, actively do what you're supposed to do. And then that guide will be there to say, hey, Traci, in fact, what's hitting me now? Remember the book? You are sitting down and somebody comes and hits you with what you have in your repertoire, your expertise, that's needed right now. Write the book. Had you not done a couple things to get to that point for him, he would have never found you. And if we listen to that story, I'm pretty sure he got you. You met him through somebody who said, Traci Phillips, or that you were somewhere performing, you were producing, and he saw it and said, help, come here. I'm going to pull this out of you.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, because I just show up every month and write a blog, and it's always based on the patterns that I see and hear in clients and what I sense and see in my own life.
Wow.
And I just put it out there. If it can be valuable, great. If it's not valuable, fine. You know, it was enjoy. I love writing, so it's enjoyable for me to write. I could write, you know, the same word over. Well, that might be kind of boring, but you know, like, I mean, I just enjoy the producing of it. Within me was planted a seed of just enjoying writing. And so being able to then be an open catalyst, you know, to bring ideas into form, you know, is just an added bonus, right? That's the delivery system, you know, but I enjoy it. I enjoy my delivery system. And I think that's the point. Like, I was talking to a client today and I said, you know, really he's like, well, so what's going to help? And I said, you know, they say chop wood, carry water. Creating a routine is what's going to stabilize you during this time. Because September is a wild ride. And I'm just going to tell people that now. We're going to be on a wild ride for a lot of reasons. And
tell me.
Stabilizing ourselves and so that we can show up and say, okay, how am I going to move this boat, right? I'm in charge of the boat. I'm not in charge of the water. I'm in charge of the boat. How am I going to navigate this boat? You know, and to be mindful in the moment as the water impacts the boat, we have to then kind of be flexible, right? So we got to be flexible as we go. But I said, creating a routine, and this particular client said, oh yeah, years ago when I just, ate the same thing and got up at the same time and all that. And I said, yeah, that works. Why did you get off of it? He says, well, I did it for a certain time. I lost the weight. And then eventually I said, because it was a diet and it was restrictive. He's like, well, I don't want to think. I said, yeah, a lot of people right now don't want to think. That's not being active. You're being asked to think. You're being asked to engage. Yes, you're tired. We're all tired. But guess what? Right before you cross the finish line is when you're most exhausted. So are you going to stop now after you've been traveling down this marathon road this long? Or are you going to be tired and do it anyway? And I said, create that framework. But within the framework, the difference between creating a lifestyle and creating a diet is a diet keeps us from thinking, just rote, just do what you're told over and over and over and over again. A framework allows for flexibility within, so we don't get tired. Living a lifestyle is about creating something where we have expansion, because if we're all constricted all the time, we're going to throw that puppy out like a diet after we get tired of it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, have the framework, get up at a certain time, but the meditation you do might be different, right? Pray, do whatever you do, ask your guides, what meditation, what part, I asked what part of my body needs healing right now. And I look for a meditation for that. Lately it's been my heart.
Gotcha.
Oh, something's heavy on my heart these days, my friend. And I've just been doing heart meditations every morning, because you know what I think we're all struggling with? I think we're struggling with the fact that the reason we get set up in situations, whether it's relationships, people, situations, is where we're not being given what we give, right? We're not receiving what we give, is because there's a blockage in the heart around that. You know what's a direct match? I match up with someone who can't give when I can't receive.
Yes.
Right? That's the match. I can't receive, so I need to be with someone who can't give. Because if I'm with someone who gives and I can't receive, that's going to cause so the way things work is like if I show up with somebody who's not given, and then I'm sitting here going, I'm not getting what I need. It's like, it's because you can't receive it. That's on you. We get to do heart opening to create whatever the blockage is that's keeping us from both giving and receiving, but mostly receiving. Yeah. Gets to be unblocked. But then, have flexibility. Don't do the same thing every day. Maybe if you're called to, do it for a while, but have routine. If you're going to eat a nutritious breakfast, just make sure you shop for nutritious things so that you don't have to eat the same thing every morning, but anything in your fridge is going to be good for you. Correct. Right? Correct. But that framework that allows for the flexibility that's going to be aligned with what moods we're in, what we're in. Because again, if I eat hamburgers every day, okay, that's like the hamburger diet. At some point, I'm going to give up, mostly because I'm deficient in certain nutrients. Right? Because hamburgers only have certain nutrients. And if I'm eating only hamburgers for months and months and months, my body's getting depleted of the key vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that hamburger doesn't have. Correct. Right? So that's true of everything. So no, don't put yourself on a diet. When I say routine, I don't mean diet, folks. Don't do that. Create framework that you can be flexible within, because we need that variety. Yes. Right? The framework is the structure, and within that we need variety as well. That creates lifestyle. And I'm also hearing, when I hear you say those words, framework, routine, I hear discipline, right? Yes. And most times discipline, when people hear discipline, they're saying, oh my goodness, I have to be rigid. Just do. And sometimes there are certain times you have to do it, but your doing is, my discipline is getting up at 6. You get up at 6. And then there's a variation in the exercise that you will be doing. You will exercise, you're disciplined to exercise, but today you're exercising your neck muscles. The next day, your biceps. The next, your back.
and on and on. You're exercising. You're eating, as you said, you're eating the proper ingredients, the proper nutrients you're giving your body. But when it comes to business, right? You I don't know if I told you this story. There's BMW, a very good mechanic in Apex, North Carolina. His name is Brian Premier One Automotives.
Shout out to Brian Premier One.
Shout out to Brian, right? Brian and I go there and say, hey, Brian, my car. He goes there, he looks at the car, he fixes it. Brian is about service, about just doing the right thing. Here's where discipline comes in, right? Brian tells me one day, Wulwyn, when I started this company, nobody knew me. Nobody, not a single person came through the door. Then they saw a mechanic or automotive, and I had German cars on my, German cars only. American cars started to come, and I said to myself, I don't have any money. I'm going to take the American car. He took the American car. The Japanese car came. The Korean car came. All of a sudden, the German car started to come. He looked at the Japanese, American, and Korean cars like, I don't want to work on these cars, but I don't know how to tell these people how to not come back here because I'm a customer service oriented kind of guy. Here's where he tells me that I don't know why he tells me, but here's my processing. Discipline yourself when you're starting your business. And I don't know why I'm just going to business, but just in anything, discipline yourself when you're doing your business, because at one time, Brian said to himself, I wish I did not start accepting Korean, American, and Japanese cars. I should have been disciplined to say German cars only. And if you've come, I would say, you know what? Go down to the next place. They do that. Because there's a time, there's the law of numbers, the average. And I did that test here. I did that test on the floor with the dice. I just kept on, and I was putting the numbers down. I did it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be patient. I'm going to do it for a long time. And see, Traci, the numbers all averaged. They hit 20 at the seam. They hit 20. One came 20 times. 2 came 18 times. 3 came 22 times. It's just averages. Average. When you're doing this, the amount of no's that you're hitting, keep counting your no's. Keep counting your no's. 20 no's, 20 yeses are right around the corner. Whew.
Oh gosh, I love that. Yeah, any salesperson can tell you that one, but that's a powerful message right there.
It's just your discipline in what you're doing. So Traci, we didn't do this in the beginning. We jumped in this thing. How are you?
So I'm good. Let's go. Yeah, I'm doing well. I mean, I'm actually feeling that like, again, we do what we say. Well, if we're going to be worth our snuff, we're going to be doing what we are talking about. And I'm really trying to apply it. I mean, it's amazing how I've hit it. Like September 1, which was yesterday, I hit that energy, and it I guess I could say it hit me. But I kind of felt like gearing up. Like my friend who I went walking with, we were both saying last Friday, we were feeling kind of, like there was a lot. It felt like there was a lot on top of us. And I showed up on Saturday, and she goes, you didn't get my message. I'm like, what message? She goes, I texted you and said, I'm just not feeling it. Not to come. It's not, I don't want to go walking. But she's like, but you're here. So let's just see how far we go. And we ended up doing the whole walk. And by the end, we were pumped. And she goes, you know what? This is such a great reminder of like I was talking about when the marathon, like we want to stop right before the finish line. We start to tell ourselves a story. We're about to lose steam right before the finish line. We've gotten, 22 no's. And we're like, that's it. That's past the law of averages. That's not right. I'm going to just get nothing but no's. And we tell ourselves and we stop. Yeah. And that's right before, I forgot who said it, but it's like when the seed starts to come out, right before the seed's going to like break the soil, and we stop watering it, and that thing starts to die. And it's like, I was just about to pop,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's what I feel. It's like and the word that keeps coming up for me is committed. I'm committed, to making this next 50 my best. Like I'm committed, and I know there's things like, I talk about law of averages. Like we already know that the first 50 were on an incline, the last 50, at least physically, we're on a decline. So we're working against that average, but that doesn't matter. That just makes the win that much sweeter. That makes the advancement that much greater, but I also am here to say that I think we can also change this thing. Years ago, I tell this story to close friends. So I'm going to say it prime time now. Years ago, I was in 6th grade, and I was, 6th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th grade was an awkward time, like just awkward.
Okay.
And I was at a friend's house, and I was bemoaning the fact that, I wasn't popular, and nobody liked me, and my hair was stringy, and it was the wrong color, and, all these things, and we're sitting there, we're swimming around in her pool. And she comes up, she paddles over to the side, and I'm kind of over there just wah, 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 wah. And she looks at me, and she said one of the most prophetic things that has ever been said to me in my entire life. And Kristen Messenbaugh, if anybody knows Kristen Messenbaugh, she happens to be watching, which would be total trick. This is Kristen Messenbaugh in 6th grade. She said to me, she says, Traci, I think you're going to be like wine, which is kind of a funny thing when you're in 6th grade for somebody to say that to begin with. You're going to be like wine. You're going to get better over time.
Wow.
Just give it time. 6th grader, right?
Wow.
And I remember being like, that doesn't help. And sure enough, has she not been spot on?
Wow.
That as my life has gone on, it's gotten better and better and better and better, And we all go through challenges. We're all going through many of them now.
Yes.
And to your point about not giving up, before we get to that finish line. I had a client text me the other day, and she's like, my husband, and she's older. She and her husband have been married, I'd say at least over 20, like probably closer to 30 or 40 years. He just asked for a divorce. And this is something that she's been kind of speaking to for a while. But then suddenly when it's upon her, it's the reaction of, I don't know if I'm ready, or, no, we can't, clamp it down, all that. And I'm like, okay, just try to stay out of reaction. I know it's a challenge. I know this is sudden, but not really. Don't live in the story, and certainly don't start going into what you think is going to happen.
Correct.
Don't stay in the boat and deal with the current moment.
Correct.
But we've been asking for a lot. I'm always telling people, listen, this is not a popular thing to say, but what we're in right now, we've all been, whether we know it or not, consciously or unconsciously, been asking for what we're going through right now. So just look at where that's happening in your life. Because I could say with me, it's like, I have been asking to get to the bottom of certain things, and then suddenly it erupts like, wow! Because that's why they say be careful what you ask for.
That's
like,
true.
Is it really a travesty? Is it really a crisis? Is it really? Let's get real. It may feel like that, especially if we give it a storyline that goes in that direction. Of course, the meaning we give something becomes exactly what it represents in the reality that we make it.
Correct.
Right? But is it really bad? Right? Because I know a heck of a lot of things that came out of COVID that have been amazingly good. We needed it. We couldn't keep going down that rocky path. We couldn't keep doing things the way we were doing them. And people go, and we all do. It was me in the swimming pool in 6th grade.
Yep.
But what would we rather be doing now in this time? Would we rather be working with what's coming, or do we want to keep resisting? Because guess what, folks? What we resist persists. Right? we keep funneling that same energy into something, and it's
Correct.
versus,
Correct.
you know, Republicans, Democrats, conservative, you
Yeah.
know, it's like you're just creating a fight.
Mm.
Why?
Mm.
You've been asking for this fight, so finish it off or give it up. But like, don't be bemoaning the fight that you've brought on with your mentality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've all collectively done it. So I'm stepping up and taking ownership of my own this, right?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Got a lot of jump off points.
Like, I don't know. It's like jumping off of the high dive. Like, I don't know if any of them are safe, but
Hey, true. No, gosh, that was an answer to how are you doing? Whew, jeez, girl.
I know I'm in the energy, my love. I am like right there in smack in the middle, and I'll own it. I mean, you can tell I'm like wired for sound, but you know, and my clients have been saying it. They're like, but you know what? You're coming through crystal clear to me. Like, I need to hear this right now. I need this. You know, I'm like, if I'm sounding a little bit like the bullwhip, they're like, no, actually, it's very loving and it's very spot on. You know, I know I need to get a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm doing it to myself. I'm kicking myself in the pants, and I'm creating structure and accountability for myself, which is the grace. That's the love. That's self-care. You know, I'm going to give myself these times that I need to fuel up and get that nutrition that I need. You know, whether it's from prayer, whether it's from eating, whether it's from spending good time with good people, whatever it is.
Correct.
You know, that's what we can feed ourselves during this time, you know, or we can spend that time on Facebook reacting to people's posts, you know.
Correct. That direction.
Yes, how are you?
I thought you would never ask. I'm just messing with you. How am I doing? I am well. Wulwyn, my son, came home on Saturday, surprisingly. He came and a friend of his was, you know, coming home, and he just hopped on for a ride. I'm in the garage about to do something in the yard, and the party car pulls in, and I go, and he gets out. I'm like, wow. I'm like, so how am I gonna react here? Should I act like, oh man, I'm so happy to see you. You just don't know. So we hug, and I go, I'm gonna man up. So I know when I say man up, I'm teasing, doing a parody of, you know, you gotta man up, be tough. So after I'm gonna man.
You like projectile tears.
Yeah, I'm gonna man up, man. What are you doing here, somewhere? Oh man, I'm so happy to see you, man. You just don't know how I miss you. Wulwyn, what's up? Whoa, give me another hug. So you know, we do it, we hang out, eats all the food out of the house. I'm like, yeah. He carried most of his clothes up, so he takes my shirt and my shorts, and he wears them. Prior, when he would be here, I would say, man, take my pants off, you know, my basketball shorts or so, take it off. But when I saw him put it on, I was outside in the yard, and he came out. I was so happy he had them on. You know, I was like, and he came out, and you know, he would wear my Crocs to go and put trash out, and don't wear my Crocs, man. What's wrong with you? And he had some of mine. I'm like, wear them, boy. Wear them. I don't know why did it change? And I'm gonna answer that question. It changed because my perspective, having him around, is so much more important than wearing my socks, than putting my shirt on. Where before he was around, I was like, man, now I'm like, dude, you can be around in any form. I'm just glad you're here, right? So that happened. Last night I was thinking I need to open an online business, you know, just an online business, an online shop. Traci, I don't know why it hit me, but I'm thinking, what would I sell on Shopify? Because again, it's me doing something without being there, and it's residual income. So I'm saying to myself, I need to think on that, because the same thing occurred roughly, what, 3, 4 years ago, when I was in a place of, I was stagnant in the business, and I'm watching. I think did I tell you about the Uber, how I started to drive Uber? No?
No, you got Uber stories? Oh, wow.
I got Uber.
How much time we got?
Uber stories. But I'm sitting now watching, it was Golden State Warriors and another team playing. I'm there cheering. Yay. Yeah, it's about 1 a.m. because, West Coast time, right? They're still playing at 9, and I'm, or 8, 10, and I'm here at 1 o'clock, and I'm watching. Yeah. And it clicks to me. Wulwyn, the business isn't bringing any income. What kind of pivot can you do? What can you do at this time? And I was like, why are you talking to me now, man? Don't talk. I'm watching basketball, please. Like, Wulwyn, what? I'm like, gosh, what can I do? What can I do? Boom. The quickest thing, and I get on my phone, I'm watching the game. How do you make money when you don't, when work isn't happening, right? I just put something crazy in there. Uber, Lyft. I'm like, oh. So I'll do Uber. Downloaded the Uber app. In less than 10 minutes, I had quickly gotten my forms, the registration form for the car, the plates, everything. I had put them in the system, and I watched the game. And the next morning, welcome to Uber. And I go, welcome to Uber. And the reason why I'm telling this story is because it's the same place I was, the same mindset. Not that the business is not going down, it's going up, right? It just hit me that I can do something, I can produce, I can do more, right? So I'm
That's the energy we're in.
Same place of decision making, right? And I get in the car and I go for my first fare, and I go, hi, how are you? She goes, hi. It's around 5 p.m. And I take her, and then she says, yeah, I say, thank you. And I go, that's it? And I start to do it from November of 2018 till January of 2019. And I do it for 3 months. And I would get up, discipline, I would get up at 6 p.m. And when I say get up, I would get in the car at 6 p.m. and drive till 2 a.m. And I told myself I'm not going to go home before 2. Why? Because I was watching those other guys make money at 2 a.m. I was watching them. I was cheering Steph Curry shooting threes, LeBron James doing whatever, and I'm cheering. And for my own business, for my own family, I'm going to stop because I'm tired at 12? Heck no. So I would go from 6 to 2, 6 to 2, 6 to 2. And in that process, I'm doing workbooks for my business. I'm working on it, and I'm parking on Capitol Boulevard, and you see these guys going, on a Friday night, and they're girls, everybody looking good, I'm like, workbook, do this business. And it was for a period. So many things in there that we can jump off, but discipline, 1, 2. I'm in that place now where I'm thinking, I've got time in the day. All I got to do is just do something put it on the internet and do it, and just let it go and let it run, right? So that's where I am, and I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something that's simple, and I'm going to be blessed.
So it feels like manifestation, right? And what are we going to manifest? Let's create, right? Like create, manifest, same thing, right? So it's like we're in creation energy. Like chaos is creation energy, right? And so the more things get disrupted, the more we're in that energy of creation. So you're picking it up as, what more can I create? What, and I love what one of the meditations I have, the guy talks about bringing in miracles, and he's like, why do we bring in miracles? We don't bring in miracles for the reasons we may think, is to fix something or heal us or whatever. we actually bring in miracles for the sake of experiencing a miracle. To be able to be like, what? Wow, whoa, you know, the wonder and awe that is a part of our birthright as human beings on this planet, right? Like we come into this life and one of our birthrights is wonder and awe. One of my clients, love this client. One of his actual core values for his company is wonder. Another one is audacity, which I love too. But it's this idea of wonder and awe. Like when we stop wondering, when we stop being creative and curious, we stop living.
Yes.
And I think that's really what this time is teaching us, is that we thought we were living. You know, when I was told that story I told last time when the guy told me he couldn't work with me because my heart wasn't open and I wasn't available.
Correct.
I remember when I was going through the work to start to change that, I realized I thought I had been feeling my emotions, but I had been intellectualizing them. So we may think we're living our lives because we're on the rat race and we're, you know, producing, but let's look at what we're producing, right? Are we producing for wonder and awe and for the sake of that feeling like it's a good fit? Are we producing because somebody told us to, or we got to do this because of this, that, and the other? Because what I heard from you too is that the Uber thing was a choice, right? Not from a place of lack and scarcity. It was a choice based on, that would be interesting.
It was, and it was. I had to supplement. I had to bring in something because nothing was coming in.
But you didn't run out just to get a job, right? Like that's what I mean. There's this distinct difference between creating a routine and framework that's for a lifestyle and creating something that's a diet. Running to something because we need to supplement out of fear and scarcity, or creating a new opportunity that gives us what we need, but also becomes something that builds us in some way. Like we're going to be built over here too. We just may not notice it. That was the difference with your son too. It's what you were focusing on. Correct. Before, when he was in the household, you were focusing on the fact he was wearing your clothes. Yeah. Now you're focusing on the fact he's home.
You better don't wear my clothes, boy. What's wrong with you?
Right.
But now,
like, I don't care about the clothes. It's the child I'm focused on now. Before I was focused on the clothes. Now I'm focused on the kid. That's happening too. Like, so if something goes away and you're trying desperately to clinging, it's that clinging energy. Like, no, don't go. I think that has a lot to do with where our hearts are, kind of like, oh God, all my stuff is going away, and we're focusing on the loss instead of why it's maybe going. We may not know why it's going away, but we can trust there's going to be a gain, just like we can trust we're safe, and we can trust that, God has planted this plan and we have free will on how we're going to maneuver and how we're going to navigate. But there is this river and it's going in a certain direction. And we either can go with it or against it. And I think that that's the thing, is the more we have against energy, the more we create against energy.
Yeah.
Right? The more we have with energy, and sometimes we don't know. Right? Someone's like, I don't know. Like when, I didn't know what it meant to go. I'm like, I'm going to open my heart and be in a heart base. What does that mean? I have no idea. But I'm committed to changing these things. And I'm disciplined in whatever comes that makes it obvious to me that it needs to be shifted. And I'm not going to do it out of scarcity. I'm not going to do it out of lack. And yes, we can't help it. Sometimes we're going to react. But as soon as we become aware, they're in reaction, or being, distracted, or we're freaking out over something that if we really ask myself, it's like, maybe this is a good thing this is going away. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's going to mean some extra work and it's going to be difficult maybe in some ways or whatever, but really at the end of the day, is this something I've asked for? Right? I really think this time is going to be important that we start to dive into that.
Yeah. And we for the 8, 10, 4, maybe it's 2 new people have come on, 20 people, 12, whatever. As you are watching what we're talking here is just, I think we already know what this one is, directions, right? Today's directions with where your true north is, and knowing where your true north is. And once you know your true north, that is how you go up, how you rise, how you produce. There's a producer mindset that comes in. There's a producer mindset that comes in. Along with that mindset is discipline and frameworks, and not diets, because it's for the long haul. And I beg to differ with you that this next 50 is downhill, right? I completely differ, because if we do our framework of exercising and eating the proper diet, not dieting, eating the proper diet, knowing that we can do at we can still do just what we said, the discipline of knowing your body and performing where you are, not performing at a 16-year-old pace. Perform at your 50, perform at your 60, but the key is perform. The key is discipline to do it. And I think at 60 and 70 and 80, I saw a picture on a friend's Facebook or Instagram, and it had both are 72 years old. One of them is holding a kettlebell, and she is cut like I don't know what, six pack and da da da. The other is sitting at a window looking out despondently. Just both of them are 72, meaning I'm not going to agree that the next 50 is downhill. The next 50, those pictures that we form in our heads that Hum Dave's gonna go down from here. That's what the story we're telling ourselves.
That's it.
Nah.
And that's the story we've been told.
We've been told.
No, I'm with you, man.
We've
I'm
been
with you on
told.
that.
Yeah, we've been told that, at 50, you're going down. No. And we're not saying 50 is a new 30. Now, that's another lie, because it's not the new 30. 50
It's
is
not.
50.
50 is 50, yep.
All you have to do is stay in your lane and do those things that have made you successful, and add the things that will make you successful, and remove those things that you know now that doesn't help you, right? Like, I'm going to be blunt. At our ages, you're hitting the 40s and the 50s, right? And it's some of you who are 20 watching, if you can do this now, it's going to help you down the line. Get rid of load, get rid of drag. And what I mean by get rid of those friends who don't add any value to you, bump them. And I mean bump them, because all it's going to do, and even at 50, 60, you span it and see, this one doesn't add any value. Am I adding value? Okay, if I'm adding value to that person because I want to uplift, good. But if this is not adding value to you, come on, time is short. Time is so short. As we were saying, now is 1:55. Can you imagine? Time is short.
Time is short. It seems like it goes faster and faster. Well, and I so appreciate those words. I think, there's a reason that seemed pretty directed today. The conversation didn't meander a whole lot, from this concept of direction, because it's the message that was most prominent to come through.
Correct.
And I do feel that. I feel like we are being given an opportunity to get real solid, in how we want to, you talked before we got on, you were talking about architecture, which almost blew my mind, because I'm working on a program right now with a colleague of mine, and it's about being the architect of your life and creating that blueprint. And my dad's still a working architect at 82, and so I have great respect for that. But we can't build before we create that roadmap, right? Before we have that blueprint.
Correct. And
that's the beauty of what we architecture brings to it, is it gives us the vision of what that thing is going to look like.
Correct.
And start to architect, is this thing I'm doing right now adding value to the vision I'm trying to create, or is it not?
Yes.
You know, I mean, sometimes we need to take a break. Sometimes we need to step back. Yeah, I get it. But, you know, if we get disciplined about asking ourselves, is this for me, or is this really not working?
Correct.
You know, I think it's going to be easier to let go of the things that we need to let go of and accept and bring on board the things that we need to start creating.
Once again, Traci Phillips, your favorite number, you said 12.
12 is my favorite number.
This may have
my
been,
lucky number.
I like how this one went. So Walter Honeycutt just got on and he says, y'all are something else in a good way. I did a short video for a doctoral student forum yesterday on feeding success. I made that exact point on pruning your social circle. That's, and another guy goes, even though I walked through the valley of the shadows, Sangha Peabody. This is a schoolmate of mine from the 90s, high school.
Oh my
He
gosh.
says, even though I walked through the valley of the shadow of COVID-19, you are there. He could have taken another road, but he chose to take us through the valley of the shadow.
Yes, we're gonna be so much stronger and resilient for it. And I think that unless we decide not to be, right? Like, it's always a choice. We can move towards fragility, can move towards resiliency.
Correct.
So.
Traci.
Good stuff, my friend.
I'm down to leave, but I'm happy we had it. You have a good one. Viewers, thank you. Soon you'll be able to do this on YouTube live, and then we can just have one place for you to get to. Traci, you take care of yourself.
You too, my friend. We'll talk again soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.